I prophesy. Kingdom will come to your life. Together, let's give the peace. Cause in unity we will build our nation. Arise, Liberia, arise. Arise and take your place. Whatever the locals are meeting, arise and take your place. The flag of Liberia is flying over. It's flying all the time. Showing allegiance, showing loyalty to this nation. Liberia, Liberia, in union, success and show. It's flying all the time.
Who went through some vigorous training, and how do we make our sports, what do I say, active and more productive in this country? So this is the platform for you, Sports Talk on Into Your Sports. We are taking this break. We will tell you who will be our guests and what we will be discussing on to next presentation of the program, Sports Talk on Into Your Sports. Welcome back to the program. So, on our current and trending issue today, one big news every Liberian should be proud of that Liberia was awarded 3 points by FIFA because Equatorial Guinea defeated an illegal player, resulting to FIFA giving Liberia 3 points and 3 goals from the game. Equatorial Guinea versus Liberia, where Liberia lost at home 1 goal to 0. And the man who scored Equatorial Guinea has been banned. So this release from the Federation of International Football Association Disciplinary Committee has granted Liberia 3 points following a decision against Equatorial Guinea Football Association and player Emmanuel Nuzi Lopez. The committee determined that Nuz was ineligible to participate in several matches, including those in the FIFA World Cup 2026 preliminary competition. As a result, the matches Equatorial Guinea play against Namibia and Liberia on November 15 and the 20th of 2023 respectively have been forfeited, each resulting in a 3 goals victory for the opponent. Liberia lost at home to Equatorial Guinea 1 goal to 0 with that owned goal. That really means that Liberia is awarded 3 points. 3-0 win, significantly impacting their standing in the preliminary competition. Additionally, the Equatorial Guinea Federation faced a fine of 150 CFA, 150,000 CFA, and the player has been playing in a representative team for 6 months. So this is not the first time he has been banned 2023 because this player, the guy was the higher goal scorer in the just ended Nations Cup, and he played for Spain doing the youth level from honor 17 to honor 2023, and he opted to change his nationality to Equatorial Guinea. These are things that happen to many of the countries and players who feel they don't have playing time with their country. So in 2023, he played against Liberia. 2013, he also played for Equatorial Guinea. He was banned. The country was fine because some paperwork never went through. And after a thorough investigation, now Liberia has benefited from it. So Liberia, instead of sitting at the bottom of the group, will now sit there on the table with 3 points, which is a good news for Liberia and coach Mario Maronika. This was one game that cost Ansumana Keita his job. I hope he's a happy man now that he can say during my term, I'll earn the national team 3 points because is yet to win as a senior team at the famous Samarkand Sports Complex in Monrovia. Our girls have been doing well. On yesterday, they defeated neighboring Sierra Leone in the WAFU Zone A competition 7 goals to 0. Deconte Edward Jackson got a hat-trick, and Louis Brown, interestingly, coming back from playing for the Honor 17, where she helped Liberia to qualify to the next round, and Liberia will play Nigeria in the next round of the competition. We'll be talking more when we have our other guest, Nanika Hoffman, a Liberian sports journalist who is so passionate about women football in Liberia. We will talk more about that, but Liberia will face Nigeria in the final round for who represent Africa, the World Cup in the Dominican Republic. So yesterday, she joined her teammates after Liberia defeated Guinea 2-0. Louis Brown joined her teammate and scored a brace yesterday. Talented player. Our football, our youth football is trying to get somewhere. And I think these are things we need to talk about. But just before, let me tell you what we have on our plate tonight for our discussion, and it promises to be very interesting and entertaining because we have, what do I say, tough sports stakeholders who will be here tonight discussing mini Liberian football. The LFA Extraordinary Congress is slated for tomorrow at the headquarters of Football Association in Congo Town, the Swagamo community. We have invited some of the delegates in the form of senior professional president and CEO Chris Weah and the president of First Division Affet, former Second Division champion Global Farmer Savannah's Kevin Morris, who is also a former football player. He will have a say on the Congress on tomorrow. Also, he formed part of that delegation of Liberia to the just ended FIFA Congress. So he will be looking also at Congress with FIFA and our Congress, his experience. As a photo of him, we will talk that more. And we'll also speak with sports journalists, like I said, Nanika Hoffman, who will more about Liberia's latest, what do I say, rise in women football. Our team, under 17, just qualified over Senegal on home soil. Our under 20 team secured 2 crucial wins in the Waffle Zone A in Senegal. 7-0. They defeated Sierra Leone and 2 goals against Guinea. What a massive result. What does this mean for football and how can we maintain this? So these are the topics, the points we will be discussing. Like I said, Savannah's Kelvin Morris is already in studio. We also have Chris Weah, and both of them, interestingly, Chris Weah, is the chairman of the Club President Association of Liberia, and Savannah's Kelvin is the vice chairman. So we'll be talking more tomorrow. LFA goes to Congress and what they have to say about the Congress tomorrow, because there's some hula balu, and we'll be talking more on that. We are taking this break. When we return, we go over to our studio guest and we have him on. So we are taking this break. To be right back. So, welcome back to the program. Like I said, I'm privileged to have my colleague Ben Gagba. Ben, welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. It's going to be here. It's the last edition of the week.
Yeah, last edition of the week. Next week, we have 3 more for the end of the month. I think it is so great. And we have us, Savannah's Kevin Murray, the man fresh from Bangkok. Tell us, how do you feel?
I feel good. I feel good. I feel lively. It's a pleasure being here with you guys to discuss Liberian football because football is our passion. And we always feel proud discussing it whenever the need arises.
For the benefit of the DAO or people out there, who is Savannah Morris? Firstly,
Savannah Morris likes to consider himself as a footballer. Like they say, once a footballer is always a footballer. Currently, he's not on the pitch. He's the president of First Division Club, Global Farmer Football Club.
Okay, Ben. Liberia, before we go to that, I know Savannah is a happy man also, but has been awarded 3 points in the group, the Walker qualifier. We lost at home. That game cost Ansu Keita his job because fans went on the rampage. And today we have been given 3 points in the group because of ineligibility of a player fitted by Equatorial Guinea. Is it a good news for Liberia?
Yes,
Football.
I think it's a good news. First of to start with, I would like to say if the 3 points finally be given to us because Equatorial Guinea has the right to respond within 10 days time, which will be on the 3rd of June, on the Monday. So they should be making a motivated request or respond to FIFA within 10 days time. And then they will explain themselves, and then they can also appeal the decision through the FIFA appeal committee. If you take an appeal and say, for example, the appeal goes in the favor, then the decision will be reversed. But obviously, from what I read from the FIFA website, they said they quote, they are comfortably satisfied that after all the check, the player was featured illegally or he never had the right to be featured in those matches he played. But we all know that Emilio Insua is a wonderful talent. We know that he was a top goal scorer at the Just African Cup of Nations. We also know that he scored a lone goal here against Liberia. So extracting from that team, and Liberia have got a strong case that they could have won on the night, especially playing at home.
And
so
he got that
it is a
long
good
goal.
decision, and we got 2 World Cup qualifiers coming up. We got one with Namibia in, I think, South Africa,
Yes.
and we got one with Sao Tome and Principe in Morocco. So obviously, those 2 teams that supposed to be playing, they're playing away. So judging by his record, Mario Marinica, considering the fact that he played Djibouti in Morocco, and they were using that ground as a home ground, and he won. So I mean, those 2 games relatively look almost the same. So if he goes on to win, well, I think we are currently 3rd in the group. We are going to get 9 points from those 2 games if you win there. He's had some pretty good record. It's so early to praise him or so, but for the first time in 22 matches, we kept clean sheet. And for the first time in 9 matches or so, we could not concede a goal at home. So those are good signs and symptoms. And I just hope that the decision today, coming up late this evening before we retire from work, paves the way for a better campaign.
So, like you hear it from Ben, Savannah's Kevin Murray, you're one person who left the SKD that night, very disappointed that Liberia couldn't pull a win against South Equatorial Guinea, about Malawi. Now, Keita lost his job because of that game. I'd like to say it's because of that game, because it was the first game before we played Malawi. And it was during that game, the fans stormed the stadium and said they do not want Keita. But today, like Ben said, it's a strong case for Liberia because if you extract the attacker, the captain from that team, Liberia could have won the game or settle for a draw at home. So Liberia can say this was the reason. And it's not the first time. As a former footballer, you have been in this position before, lost in a game or turning result in your favor against you?
Well, it is a good thing. I like to say the past few days, a couple of days, things begin to fall into place positively for us. Yeah, we see our female teams for, I don't know, for as long as I can remember, we were able to qualify over Senegal in a tournament. Whatever tournament it is, for as long as I can remember, on our page, we beat Senegal 2 goals to 0. The last couple of days, we saw our under 20 female team beating uh,
Guinea and Sierra Leone.
and Sierra Leone. Well, it is a positive step forward. And I don't want to think that this or that game was the reason Keita was fired. It was a process. That game, the action was actually taken.
It's
But
back.
yeah,
It's back. The real action.
yeah, it's back the action, but it was as a result of past games, fans' frustration from past games. Everything was brought down to that particular game, and that game was being used as a means to sound it out, to let everybody know that we are tired of this. And unfortunately, Keita was in position at that time. He was managing the affairs at that time, so it just came down on him, and he got fired. And you also talk about that player out of that team who have, as a matter of fact, who have won that game with other player. Yeah, I don't think people expect that because that one player who scored a goal, if he had been absent, we would have won. Let's look at the game. How many chances did we create in that game? How well did we play against Equatorial Guinea? Did they defend well? Yeah, I would say they defended well against us. We're not much of a threat to Equatorial Guinea. We weren't much of a threat. So it's possible that somebody else playing with Equatorial Guinea in that position could have scored on us. They could have scored. But the thing is, we are all happy that we will get this 3 points. If it happens after the 10 days and they are able to prove their points, we will end this 3. This will be a motivation for us going to June, the next 2 games that we have to play. This will serve as a big motivation to the team. To the coach, it will be a starting point. You have the first 3 points after you inherited a team that has lost their previous 2 games in the competition. And you just, fortunately for you, you realize that you've gotten 3 of those points back, taking you to 3rd place in the group when you were supposed to be at the bottom place. That's something that's supposed to inspire the coach, encourage him, inspire the players you've gathered. So I think it's a good thing for us.
Okay, so now let's go to the real issue. Liberia Football Association Congress. But before going to the Congress, you enjoy yourself. You attended, I think it's a lifetime experience, attending FIFA Congress for the first time as a stakeholder, for the first time FIFA Congress. How was it? What's the experience like?
The experience is indescribable. Yes, it is. It was awesome because it's something that up to now I can't get over. I can't understand the fact that it was like being in a storybook you have read over and over. Yeah, and find yourself right in that book. In the middle of that book with all of the characters you have read about and how you have had illusions of, and you find yourself right in that book at that particular moment with all those guys. It was a feeling that I really couldn't fathom. Oh, it was an educative experience. I learned a lot for the fact that we've gotten ourselves in the football administration. There are a lot of things we can say we have not learned. We are yet to learn. Going to that Congress, I learned a lot, especially about how to operate. I was fortunate to attend a couple of the meetings with the president, and some of the things we always argue about, talk about in our chat room, how they should be done. Those things were just brought forth in plain black and white. We understand a lot. I believe it was one of the reasons the president told me so that a stakeholder, a club president can have an idea as to what is actually unfolding, contrary to what we just say in the different chat room, contrary to what we think, contrary to what we assume things to be like. We learn the reality. We see how it is. Take for example, like Ross stand to lose 150,000. The person was like appealing to,
For what?
yeah, we stand from the FIFA forward. Each of those monies that come in, some of them are conditional. Some of them are conditional. As the financial people will say, they are conditional gain. That is, you have to meet up to certain criteria to be able to earn that money. They will say, unlock that money, right? You must do certain things for it. So that 150,000, in order to unlock that money, you must have under 15 female league, female competition. You must have under 17 female competition. In the absence of having all of those competitions, you cannot earn that money. So the president was like talking to the guys, those African guys who's in charge of African affairs on FIFA. He was like talking to them to see how he can pursue them to let us have this money and then run the league, because it's not easy. Regardless of all of the different challenges he tried to explain to them, he said it's just not possible. If we do this now, everybody start coming with their different excuses, and we're not going to realize what we want to realize. Now, I think the problem with media without criteria is the fact that there aren't much girls in the football as compared to what it should be. We already have the girls who are playing in the different teams are participating in the upper and lower league. So to just have like the different academies that we have playing competition, like the T-Bed, all of that, you can find under 15, under 17, the boys category to play. It is easier as compared to the girls. So where do you now have those under 15 girls, those under 17 girls now to play competition? You cannot go have those same girls on the different teams. No, you have to bring new breed of kids who want to play football. That is the challenge the LFA is facing right now to meet up to that criteria. So it was just that the guy said, at the end of the cycle 2026, we're going to call everybody who have not met up with the different criteria and decide that whether we're going to give them those missed or not. So yes.
And I'm sorry for interrupting, but what that means is that we're going to have to increase the number of clubs if we are to run B15, B17 league.
Yeah, you may not necessarily increase the number of clubs that are taking part in a lower or upper league, but we will have
the total number of clubs.
Of course, you have to increase the number of clubs, because those say, as we have the third division or under 15 team, we must have it in the female category as well. So that means, like you said, that means the number of female clubs are going to increase.
Like we play female football in the school.
Yeah, the school has not been, like the president mentioned, it's not really been working, because the school wants the LFA to do everything to honor all of the expenses involved in playing the female football with the schools. And it's kind of challenging, as the president said, it's kind of challenging. So I think stakeholders, people who are involved with women's football, this time now that we start thinking how to encourage the younger ones. You cannot just take everybody, because football is a step-by-step thing. We are progressing. So you take those younger ones, do not just throw them into the lower league or the upper league.
But probably when they say you don't have league for them, so they can't just be training in the community and so then play competitive league.
So is that available?
You push them to the lower league, or if they are so talented, like in the case of Louise Brown, she played for the under 17, and we are seeing her at the under 20 playing for our senior, our under 20 team.
So our major challenge with this entire of women's football is the fact that it has a competing sporting activity, the kickball. The kickball is competing hugely in Liberia. You go to the academy, you see only women play. But if we should decide that those girls who are actively playing kickball start shifting their attention, we start encouraging them to shift their attention, because the kickball is not doing anything much. They do not have, besides the candidate,
that's a huge argument you try to.
No, I'm being blunt. The kickball is not doing much for those guys. Now, see our honor 20 guys.
You don't say that in front of Emmanuel Whitty.
I would say that even any kickball stakeholder, I have to say that even.
What do you think?
Now, see the opportunity those kids are having right now.
To travel.
Some kids have never thought their parents, their position have made them not to ever think that their child will ever cross Liberia's border. Right? Today, these kids are having those experiences, living from one country to another. Those little cents that they get from there, it goes to their parent. Unlike the kickball. The only time you have people benefiting from the kickball is when they go to the county meet. It's when they go to the county meet. Now, the last time, because of how unimportant people perceive it to be, people are even complaining of you gave a male third place team this amount of money, and you give a female third place team 50,000. People had a little comment, chip in, and all of that.
No, but I think it wasn't a mistake because I did a follow up on that. Winners give the cash prizes. A winner point was we bet on football.
Yeah.
We invest in football. People bet on football, so we give more to football. We do not have it on our ticket. They are not part of our business. So, but we just want to because they counted me. So when I explain to someone, and the person, I see. So like you are saying,
that's exactly my point. Who's going to make business of kickball? Who's going to make business of kickball?
there are people.
Who's going to make?
It's not because you are into football, then you want to denigrate other sports.
Okay, so I'm sorry, but I hope we don't sway too far away from our conversation. But the issue of the U15 and U17, and you were talking about them being competitive. I don't think FIFA so much interest at the level of U15 and U17 is to build a competitive team because at that level the kids are still learning.
Yeah, but that is the route from which they come together.
Yeah. So
people have serious interest in those fundamentals. The under 15, the under 17. As a matter of fact, they keep emphasizing, in a sense, it is the bedrock of football. So they keep emphasizing that you must build. So that is a condition that you cannot compromise. Like the guy right about it, you cannot compromise it. You must play this league.
Otherwise, you cannot get this money. So all of the different money that the LFA receive has its own criteria. You must meet up with this. You must have this. And they say you must have doping workshop, for example. If you don't have it, there's some money that you cannot receive.
We have one.
Yeah. So we have to put that in the place to unlock that money. So my point is there are different criteria that you must be with. All of those things,
there were things that we're not knowledgeable about. So going on there, it brought in our idea, it brought in our mind. We've got to know so that tomorrow, that when somebody is sitting for me in a chat or in a chat when somebody is saying it, I'm able to read the next checkpoint.
When they say you are blowing the horn of the LFA because you got when they say because you have the opportunity to travel with the president, and this is why you are blowing the horn because
I've seen the truth. I've seen the reality. Now I'm a club president. You don't think I need money? My club needs money.
LFA now come on and say Global Farmer should have a under 15 female team to unlock their subvention.
Well, the LFA will now already come and say Global Farmer should have a female team. So right now, even the LFA is finding it difficult to have a female league, under 17 female league, because they are aware of the inavailability of the people who should be playing the league. So they cannot just say it's going to be a process. All of these things coming to full is not just one day thing, right? I can say maybe in 5, 6, 7 years from now, when we start having those regular under 15 league, under 15 female league, under 17 female league, it could be a requirement.
Okay.
It could be a requirement.
So still with the FIFA Congress, since you came, I mean, you have practical experience of a lot of things, right? And you are a member of SIPA. SIPA for
he's the vice chair.
Sorry?
He's the vice chair.
I'm saying, so for the benefit of our viewers, he's a member of SIPA, and SIPA is a club president association of Liberia. So given that, have you been able to talk to some club presidents about the reality that you faced in Bangkok at the 74th Ordinary FIFA Congress?
As a matter of fact, I was just doing that. You know, we just had a after the briefing at the LFA. We just met as club president, and we had some discussion regarding tomorrow's Congress. And I was just talking to I had two persons, two other presidents with me, and I was just telling them some of these difficulties, like I just mentioned. All of these things are not as the same on the surface, right? You will say you want the LFA to give this, you want the LFA to increase this, you want the LFA to do this. We all want that to happen. Well, let's look at the reality, like I said in the middle, the are realities. Let's look at it. Let's see the possibility. The LFA submitted budget to us, right? We're on an obligation to look at that budget, scrutinize it, to know where we can fit in when it comes to maybe additional funds coming to the effort. Some of us have to look at it. We went there today, the president discussed almost everything, every part of the budget. People asked questions, and for every question, there were some form of justification given. I'm not saying it is not possible, right? I'm not saying. I've spoken with these guys. I told the other guy, I say, we go to that Congress. If we decide to vote no to the budget tomorrow, and the LFA call and say, let's justifiably look at this budget. Let's see what we can subtract to fit in. Clubs are demanding at least $4,000 each.
In additional 4,000.
Additional 4,000 to make it 6,000 for some. 10,000 for some measure. So they bring it back to us. I remember a couple of months back, a committee was set up to look into the FIFA forwards and see where we can rally around, where we can get additional money after meeting up with all of the different conditions, where we can get money out to add to club subvention. Of the president, that committee were not able to come up with anything substantial to enable the FA make decision on that. So if that come back to us today, if that budget come back to us today and say, yeah, carry the budget and prepare this budget to be able to meet up to the LFA's operation, to meet up to the running of the league, and let's find the addition that we can find to meet up with the 10,000 we are demanding. Can we be able to do that? Because so far,
And what's the response you got?
well, in the middle, somebody had, according to them, they had a breakdown of what they did, where we can get money from. I did not see it, so I did not see it to know if it was factual, if it was achievable. Because we, from the financial background, for something to be done, you must first look at the achievability of that. It's not just, I want to do it because of this. You must look at the means. If the means are there and you can achieve it, then you go for it. So I did not see that document, but it was in passing. They mentioned some points. You can get this from the off-season tournament. You can get this from the other part of the budget. You can get this from this.
How possible is it you raise certain money from the off-season tournament?
So that is the point. People think that, like somebody said, you get 15 for off-season. We have not played off-season. For God's sake, the league just ended. So then we got 2 to 3 months to the new league season. Can we say we will not play off-season? We cannot outrightly say we will not play off-season. So if that 15,000 is given to club right now, it means we have canceled our off-season. Somebody say, let's take money. Let's look at the increment in the salary. Ben works with the FA. Will Ben agree for us to do a cut in his salary? Will Ben want us, if Ben was anticipating increment in his salary for performance, will Ben not want to have that? So people want us to disregard one group of people and pay attention to one group of people. I think that's been selfish. I said something in the meeting, and Gianni Infantino, the conversation we're having, I got to know that it's not just unique to us. Even in FIFA, it is there, where people argue that we're supposed to get this, we want to get this. So Gianni, make it.
And how do they solve these problems?
So Gianni said, the revenues that FIFA generates, they are intended to run football. They are not solely intended to be distributed. He further went on to say, if FIFA decide not to send out those money out, 70% of the federations will not be able to function. Of course, he says 70% of the federation will collapse, will not be able to run. So FIFA is doing their best.
People, I'm quoting him, people should understand that FIFA is making effort to develop football worldwide. And it's not about a specific federation or specific continent or whatever it is. Doing it universally to develop football in every part of the world. So at a given time, things will increase gradually and not because somebody said they want an increase.
Okay, this is Sports Talk on Into Your Sports. If we have Chris Weah and Nanika Hoffman, they can come on, and we are still waiting them to come on. And it's a reminder that you are listening or watching Sports Talk, and we have us in studio Savannah's Kelvin Morris, president of Global Pharma and co-chair for the Club President Association of Liberia. We are discussing his experience at the FIFA Congress, and Liberia will be having an extraordinary Congress on tomorrow. And there are some similarity, like he said, and we are seeing how best we can fit in this situation. I hope Chris is on that. We can also talk about our national team when it comes to the female. So going to the Congress on tomorrow, like you are explaining, SIPA should be so, one may say, powerful, because majority of the voting rights is with SIPA, but probably you guys running SIPA, we are seeing something like a split. And if you have a split, I don't think SIPA will have the motive met at the end of these congresses we go to.
I agree with you, Chris.
And what's the problem?
That is a fact. In the absence of being together, we cannot achieve our objective.
Well, there have been some internal issues with SIPA since the ascendancy of our leadership. There have been some issue, and most time you talk to people, their point is SIPA chairman has already made known his intention to contest the NFA presidency, which makes it a conflict of interest to represent SIPA while you have. So people think that you want to use SIPA as a political party, or as I would like to call it, political party, to be on his side for the upcoming elections in 2026. That's a genuine point, right? If you ask me, I would say that is a genuine point. And if you want to head an organization that should be engaging the government, and you see in the head of that organization is a contender or an opposition to the government, nobody wants to listen to you. And of course, nobody wants to listen to you, because whatever you do, the administration believes that whatever you do, if you succeed,
it gives you
some positives going to
the
the
election.
It put you in a better position going to the elections. And nobody wants to have that. Nobody wants somebody to have an edge over them at their own detriment. So I listen to you. You bring forth this plan. I adhere to it. We implement it. The club's benefit. Who the glory goes to? It goes to you. You bring this. I help you with doing the club benefit. The glory goes to you.
What am I doing?
I'm selling you out to the stakeholders. And that's not going to happen. Nobody wants to sell out their contender. Nobody wants to sell out their opposition, because this is an election process.
There's an election process.
If you sell out the man to the people can't vote
For the man, and get you out.
So immediately to the man.
Then what the members of SIPA are doing now? Because
that is my thing.
That is affecting SIPA and what the club should benefit. If you say so, that means the FA do not feel so comfortable of listening to the leadership of SIPA, and when they come up with proposal.
So like I always say to them, you have this point. Let's go to a meeting when our meeting is called, because in the absence of a meeting to resolve those issues, right? There can be no solution. You sit on the side and make all of your points. You sit on the side and criticize. You sit on the side. These are not a big part. The FA doesn't pay attention to SIPA. The FA doesn't take anything on SIPA because SIPA has less of the stakeholders. You have 4-5 persons something that's out of 42 clubs. It means that you have just a couple of stakeholders signing that. So it does not have the weight as if everyone is together. I tell you, you do a communication and you have 42 presidents signing that communication, the NFF is going to listen.
So here's the thing. If Chris wants to be president, which obviously is his right,
Yeah, it's right.
and he goes to the election, if he's sure he's going to win, can he resign and contest the FA presidency? Or he can even go to the election, win the election, and come and resign the FA presidency. I won't see
the FA or SIPA.
Or SIPA presidency. I won't see any conflict of interest in that.
So in these processes, I can tell you, everybody
has their own side, right? I'm gonna be a pro administration. I'm gonna be a pro administration stakeholder. I don't want to promote anybody who is under administration. I'm going to stay aside. For some of us, we are open-minded, so we come in so as not to make SIPA a political party for any individual. So we stand in so that whenever there is a decision being made and we feel that it's not in the interest of
club presidents,
we stand against it. Instead of staying on the side, other people will say, no, I'm not supporting this man who is
against somebody who I support. I support Mr. Raji. Chris is Chris is running against Raji. I'm not going to support Chris.
So that's where the misunderstanding and division is coming from. So I think Mr. Weah, that we all know, has his right. Like every other.
So why don't you people call for him to resign? Because it's not helping SIPA in a way.
One person cannot do that. We cannot just sit down and say resign. It has to be a joint resolution. It has to be something that everybody wants. And in the absence of coming together as a body, that achieve. That cannot be achieved. Chris is, I understand, he's my immediate boss. Ima Kebari as vice chair, he's my immediate boss. I support him once it comes to doing SIPA's work, once it comes to engaging the LFA constructively. I support Chris on that. I'm going to support SIPA on that. But I've always made it clear, when it comes to the politics of LFA, of Liberia football, we are not on the same line. We are not on the same line. So it conflicts that entire situation where.
So that means the leadership is being conflicted.
So then, how did you get elected along with Chris?
Well, we were not actually. We went to a retreat with a couple of stakeholders, and we were not elected, but selected by the couple of stakeholders present, because I think it's not election, because there was no planned election. We just went yes. We need a leadership that would, yes, we need a representation. We need a leadership that would take the organization to election.
But I'm quite frankly, I'm sorry for interrupting. I always say I'm sorry, but I'm quite frankly sure you knew the agenda with which Chris was coming with, and before he even began or expressed his intention to be SIPA head, you knew that he was trying to rival with the LFA current leadership and stuff like that.
So that was in passing. I knew that Chris was involved in LFA politics, but honestly, I never thought that Chris actually had intention of contesting the presidency.
I never thought he actually,
until after we took a leadership position, and he appeared on one of the sports shows, I think with Chris, and he made that statement. And I said it. I said, this is going to be a problem. I said, it's going to be a problem for us. This is going to be a problem.
So it's a very interesting conversation, and I would just wish that Chris
Weah
Walker, but Chris Weah, CW. But anyway,
it's the same CW.
But like I said, and I hope he did the needful to get Chris Weah to come on.
Yes.
Like sending him the link.
I sent him the
and
link
all that.
already.
So Chris, I mean, you have to come on. You have to come on, because I don't want to say allegations, but you have to respond to what your vice president had just said.
Yeah. The truth is, a couple of guys
I've been calling for the chairman's resignation.
Do you support that resignation?
Well, like I said, we have to meet. We have to meet as a body. We have to discuss the pros and cons of this entire situation. If the body agrees that this our entire leadership, because if Chris is resigning, then I'm not going to stay. I would if you ask me today, I would suggest that our entire leadership be dissolved.
Who do you bring on board? Because everyone has a side.
So no, everyone has a side, but not everyone has an intention to contest. Not everyone has an intention to contest.
So then, here is the point. I'm quite frankly sure you've heard even more than me the issue of this concerned club president or concerned clubs association stuff, right?
Yeah. So there's the same situation. So there's the same situation that incited the concerned clubs.
What's the difference between SIPA? What's the difference between the interests of SIPA and the interests of concerned clubs?
So basically, what I've seen is that we all have the same interests, but I think our concerned clubs have been trading wrongly, using a different. We have an organization that the FA recognizes, right? We have an organization in SIPA. If there should be any issue that leads from clubs to the FA, it should be channeled through SIPA.
Agreed.
It should be channeled through SIPA. The guys, like I said, the very people who brought our leadership into place are the very same people who decided to form the concerned clubs. And that's unfortunate. Like I said to them in the chat room, how is this possible? We sat down, you decided. All of you were hearing.
Who the very same people?
I talk about Chris.
No, he said Charles Masale, Jala Kova, Edward from the ambassador, and other people. We sat down, and the first three persons I called are being looked at as the seniors of SIPA. The Charles Masale, Jala Kova, they have come a long way with SIPA, right? Those guys made the decision that because of this change, stepping aside, we need an Indian leadership that will put the organization back in the perspective and lead the organization into elections. Few months after, you come back and say this very person you put in the place should resign. And in the absence of his resignation, you form concerned clubs, which the FA knows nothing about, which the FA does not recognize. And you have people.
So, yeah, I see. I want to say sorry for interrupting. If members of SIPA, people in the hierarchy, leave a concerned club, and concerned club has a head, do you think the FA will recognize concerned club?
Well, I think the FA has a responsibility to listen to stakeholders, right? If stakeholders decide that today we are canceling SIPA and we have a new nomenclature concerned club, and they do all of the different requirements, paperwork, and file to the FA, yes, the FA is at liberty to listen to them and interact with them. But in the absence of that, we have not done. The FA cannot listen to the concerned club. The FA knows that SIPA is the parent body for all stakeholders.
As we speak, have you any knowledge as to whether the concerned club have gone through paperwork, gone for article of incorporation, and officially written the LFA and say we want to represent the interests of football?
No, that has not been done. As a matter of fact, Jalakova made it clear that the concerned clubs have gathered solely to pursue this increment.
Oh, okay.
Only for the increment.
The concerned clubs have gathered to solely pursue this increment. After the entire increment, and it was mainly to hold this Congress to ensure that this budget include the increment before it is passed.
So that means concerned club has got less than 24 hours to survive because the Congress is on tomorrow.
Of course.
The budget is going to be approved. And from I sat in the media a couple of times, minutes or so. From what I saw, there may not be increment in clubs' subvention. So if that budget is passed, does that mean that concerned club is going to dissolve? You think?
Of course, it's going to dissolve, but I don't want to outright say that. Right? Yeah. I don't want to say they have 24 hours right now because the intention may change. And secondly, going to the Congress.
What do you think?
From what I've seen so far, they have pushed themselves to some level.
Okay.
They have pushed themselves to some level that the budget may not be passed tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes, they have pushed themselves. I was just there. People have agreed to say no to the budget. People have agreed. I was asked. I said I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to make a decision later. Other stakeholders, everybody, we have agreed that we're going to vote no on the day this increment is being made up. So we cannot. I don't want to say they have 24 hours. Maybe when the budget is not being passed tomorrow, everybody will have to call. Everybody will have to call. So I believe the concerned club is going to meet the going to find representative, meet the FA, or whether it's going to be channeled through SIPA. That is another issue.
It's a real grave situation we're into at the Liberal Football Association where it's I don't know, Chris, but it's.
I think
there's no cut and dry answer. I don't see 1 + 1 = 2 answer so easy.
so. I think this is a cycle. This is a cycle.
But we have the puzzle resolved because bunch of qualified, competent, educated people form an organization for win-win situation. And whatever may happen, whether there is conflict, there is erosion, there is friction or so, at the end of the day, we must go to one goal and have those conflict resolved and work towards our objective.
This is where we have our disadvantage. We are divided. People are not okay that SIPA left on the side and we are channeling our grievance through concerned clubs. You were just in the meeting, you saw the indifference with the SIPA's chairman when that communication was mentioned. He said he did not attend a meeting or FA signature to anything that went to the FA. While one group was saying even the current SIPA chairman was part of that meeting.
But I think I can remember in one of the chat rooms, he said he attended the meeting.
Yeah, he said he attended the meeting, but he did not affix his signature to any communication that was going to the LFA. So it showed that divide. If I can tell you for sure, if we have met with the enthusiasm that concerned clubs have gathered so far, if we have met all of us together as SIPA, the association that the LFA recognizes, if we have met and made these decisions, if we have looked at the budget and come up with points where we can gather funds, and we decide that this will be fruitful to the administration and make sure they see reason, it will be more difficult for the LFA. It will be more difficult for tomorrow's Congress. It will be more difficult for the passage of that budget. But as I said, it is a 50-50 chance, as I can see it.
A 50-50 chance, sports talk. We also invited Chris Weah because if you check on our flyer, our promotional flyer, you will see we have Chris Weah on the flyer. So we don't want it to look like we did not invite him.
No, Chris was invited.
Yeah, he was invited. So we want people to know that we invited him for this program, that this is his vice chair, came to make some clarity also. So we hope, Chris, we still have time. Yeah. We can still take you for over 20 minutes. So we can look at this. SIPA cannot be divided. But just before that, probably Chris will come on later on. What's your own, what do I say, expectation or thinking about tomorrow Congress? If you don't know, or the budget do not pass, what's your thinking? What you think they will lead to our football, our league?
Well, it is holding football, it's going to hold football hostage. Now, the FA has already started expending part of this budget in the absence of Congress. The executive committee, with the power vested in them, to decide the usage of certain part of the budget. Now, Congress will meet the highest decision-making body. If guys no to that budget, it means the LFA does not have any right to make any other expenditure. The FA does not have any right to make any other expenditure within that budget. So that will mean bringing the entire operations of the FA
To a halt.
to a halt, which for some of us we see as not a good thing. So, like I said to the guys, we can still talk it over. We can still meet, we can still talk it over. And everybody say there isn't much time. Once that budget is passed, nothing we can do. Which I agree, nothing we can do. But I think there are still means.
But the stakeholder can still call for Congress what they want, because if the stakeholder come and say that's what
So
they call for Congress,
the only reason why you call for Congress if there's an agenda. So the only thing they have as an agenda is to hold it, the budget hostage. Once you deny the budget, it means there will be a Congress later.
So here is another point. The FA in that document or in the budget analysis today reveal that they've done a proposal to the national government to support football, and their budget is 300,000. They believe if the government funds that extra 300,000, they are able to use that fund to help to develop football across. And I did hear the president, Mustafa Raji, say that 300,000, if club presidents can make a strong case to the legislature, to the executive, and it is agreed by the government that 300,000 will be given to the LFA to support football, they are going to put that money into the club
The
subvention.
president said that one of the last comment came from me in that meeting, and I encourage people about that. That let's meet, let's put ourselves together as stakeholders. People have connection with people in the lower house,
like upper house.
in the upper house.
We have football stakeholders.
Mr. Poser, he has connection with the vice president of the republic. He has connection with the speaker of the house. Those are all powerful people. Like I said, I can also arrange a meeting with the chairman of Ways and Father,
Very good.
which we can meet.
You have Musa Hassan PDT there. You have every.
We can meet
These are
those
football
people.
people.
Talking about 300,000, that's too much.
It is in the budget that has already been passed. It is just a matter of making them to have that amount being overturned. Now, this is where most of the time, some of the things are in the budget, but they cannot be turned over. So it depends on how much you push. It depends how much interest you give it. You make people to know that this is important. For God's sake, there are thousands of people that are playing football. So 300,000,
they're being employed.
They're being employed. They get paid through football, and 300,000 being given to them out of all of the millions in the budget. I don't think that is a lot. But if you do not push for it, I'll spend over six years in the House of Representatives. I know practically how things are done. If you are not able to push things, if you are unable to meet the right people, one of the monies that it can be a Saudi administration, you're not getting.
It requires lobbying.
You're not getting.
You have to
You
lobby.
have to lobby. So this is
And you
how-
think the stakeholder, you think football has people in the house that can make
a
them
lot
get that
of
money.
people, there are people who are passionate about football in the house. There are powerful people, like I said. The chairman of Wales being the father is one staunch fan of football. As a matter of fact, he traveled with the national team on numerous occasions. So you think when club presidents put themselves together with the backing of the LFA, and we go and have this meeting with him, he's a close confidant of the speaker of the house, and he decided to
He's a good friend of the president of the Liberal Football
of
System.
course. So if we meet here and we have this discussion, and he want to convince the speaker, we're going to get that money. But everybody here has not been possible.
I don't know why people still allow it, but people only interest is to get the money out of the money that's already been budgeted.
So I still believe
Don't get me wrong, too. I'm not against club getting money.
increment in
I can never be against it because
But when they say, I know you're not, but when they say the clubs should be looking for their own money, then scrambling the FA to get money for under the FA. You run a business.
But our football has not reached that level.
How do
we have to put hands on deck?
Of course.
It's not only left for the clubs.
Yes, so
take for example, institutions that run in Liberia. I'm sorry for interrupting you, Chris. Institutions that run in Liberia, private institutions that pay taxes to government, should be playing their role. There's something they call this corporate social responsibility. They should be, shouldering those responsibilities. When those companies can do, I mean, there are plethora of them in our country. Western Cluster, which just closed down, B Mountain, and you have Islamita, you have Liska,
APA Terminal.
you have APM Terminal. I can go on and name on and on and on and on. SETI, Brother, Jetty, and all those. If each of those companies were paying around about $10,000-15,000 annually, that is an insignificant figure of their profit. I don't want to say revenue, of their profit they generate from our country. If they were paying that sum of money to the Liberian government and say it was intended not only for football but for sports, it is very easy for us to raise the 4,000 each that the Club President Association of Liberia or the concerned clubs are requesting for.
168,000.
4,000 each club for the two clubs. And when that happens, probably we'll see B Soccer and other affiliates coming and say, I want the money too.
Of course.
Secondly, if that money were to be raised, it's just easier to support football. 15,000 each of those multi-million-dollar companies. Take, for example, one of the trucks that they own costs over 60,000. And some of them running more than 50, 100 pieces of those trucks, exporting iron ores. You can go on to name the raw materials that our country, on a daily basis, we extract from the soil and export out of our country. I don't think those companies, even the ones that do construction engineering or construction of roads and so forth, can say to support sport, considering a population of Liberia, that 51% of them are youth, and over 60% of that figure involved in sports in somehow. Giving $15,000 is too much of money to do. But again, I mean,
Ben, Sylvanus, just before you come in, I think all of what you have said, I couldn't agree with you more. But I think what we need in Liberia for sports, I don't want it to be like football development, but for sports, is that political will. If you have a president who put his feet down and say, we need this for sports, like you said, B. Martin gave 100,000 to SYC. Just look at the county meet.
Yeah. So what they can raise all that money for?
So how? It's because it is government that should run tournament.
It's what they have
everyone want to.
So there's no interest in sports.
So that's why I'm saying, if the president of the country, the legislature can say support our grassroots development.
Worst of all, Chris,
you will see the companies doing that.
In the last term, we have President Weah as head of this country. Nobody needed to have told President Weah to invest into sports. Categorically, football. If President Weah elects it or not, it is football making president in this country. So somebody said, quote, President Weah lost the election because he abandoned a constituent. Which politician is going to abandon their constituent and think you can go on to win the election in that district or in a town or in a county and so forth? President Weah, the youth supporting him, when I said back a few months ago and look at that result, losing by just over 20,000 votes, I think he shot himself in the leg, and he is the reason for which he will go on to lose the election. Because I mean, Cuban, who the youth love so much, who the Liberian people love so much, who play the most popular game in the world, going on to lose by 20,000 votes. You can see why, I mean, he lost the election. So if he could not have the political will or the sporting will, if you like, to invest into sports, categorically football, I'm just thinking President Bokar cannot. And I won't hold any responsible. I'll tell you what, my father said he almost joined the military, okay? And in the 80s, I think it's 78, 89, he left school. And then when Doe overthrew Tolbert, there was a renewed vigor. You know, the AFL was being strengthened, people Israel, and so forth. The SATU was formed. They were very neat. He said he was almost provoked into joining the AFL. But then all of a sudden, he did it. But the reason for which he was provoked into doing that, because the AFL was very much structured and unique. Why? President Doe was a military man, military background. He never needed to be remanded about the military. When I don't want to discuss President Taylor because, I mean, he never had the kind of resources like other presidents and recognition.
Yeah,
Recognition. That's
international
it.
level.
He never had the recognition. But when President Sirleaf came to power, she was there, Harvard-trained economist stuff, finance expert. I know many of my friends, a lot of people, over 200 of them that got trained, I mean, London School of Economics. Some of them went back to Harvard. Some of them, other universities around the world. You know, America, the UK, and Europe were earning degrees in finance and so forth. That was her priority. And to form the LRA, detached from the Ministry of Finance. So a finance officer was strategizing financially, you know, to do something to generate more money. Are you going to blame President Sirleaf for creating the LRA? No, you won't do that because she came from a financial background. You know, I understand. President George Weah. What should we have told President George Weah?
Invest in football.
We should have told him.
No, that should be at the back of the mind. And this is why I kept this in my mind. And I always, when I see BDT and the former FA president, when Mustafa Raji was taking over for him, he made a statement that if football do not develop or grow, improve, it would never. People thought he was talking about Mustafa Raji taking over because of a long service. But he was talking that I'm leaving and I'm turning over to someone who has passion for football. And you have a footballing president. So if football cannot develop now, it will not develop. Yes, President Weah, former president, build stadiums around or playground and whatsoever. How is it helping our football? Do we play international games there? No. So that's it. But I think the clubs themselves, like he said, they need to push and get to the legislature. You can hold protests. If you see senior citizens, those who not going to you to say, we want $50 to leave the street, but we want this money because we will use it to empower youth. They can go out and protest. They can go out and have to make our case. We will have to make our case. What is it? CIPA is not.
We have to make our case. We have to come together and make our case. We cannot get everything LFA. We cannot get everything out of LFA. LFA can only do as much as they can. We have to push further than that. We have to get government. We have to reach out. It is government responsibility to ensure that people are meeting up to their livelihood. If you have people paying for that, getting paid for football stakeholders package, it is something that you should see reason to support. It is something you should see reason to support. And we will have to make that case. So far, we have not done that.
How soon can people make that case?
Now.
If it can happen now, it can happen.
It has to start now, Chris.
It has to start now.
Now.
That's go to the legislature. That's the most powerful person. Like, let's go to the legislature. Let's make our case. Other people go to the legislature to make a case on far lesser issue than this. A far lesser issue than they.
Plenty of money lesser.
Of course.
Money than what we even
what would you need? 300,000. How much is 300,000? That has already been passed.
Take for example, probably I think the last week in our country is the best of the last 200 weeks we have had with respect to football.
Sure.
Now, we beat in Senegal. in any competition. The last
They
time
eliminating
them. The last time I recall we ever eliminated Senegal was for the qualifying for the South Africa 96. Because there were Liberia, the Senegal, the Tunisia, Togo, and so were in group where we eliminated them, even though we didn't beat them here. We drew 1-1 year, but I mean, we stopped them from going to the Nations Cup. And we and Tunisia qualified. We qualified a group leader.
Yeah.
Tunisia qualified second. And that tournament, Tunisia reached a final against South Africa. So that thing tells me that we still get good, football team. Quite recently, Equatorial Guinea were beating us here by a goal, and we were the stoning Keita and breaking every chair.
They won the Nations Cup.
They undressed the current African champion of the but 4 goals away. And we saw what they did there. You understand? So what I'm saying is that the last week I've been the best of our 200 weeks. Our girls eliminated Senegal, beating Guinea, smashing Sierra Leone. Everybody's happy. Oh,
imagine the president said for how long, the first time for people from the finance ministry to call him yesterday that you'll come.
See that?
He's on his under 20 performance and under 17.
See that?
For the first time. So not that these things are not available. You will have to make the case. This can get better. Now we have started this path. You see, this is what our under 17, under 20 are doing. If we have more support, we can do far better than this.
And I must mention that female teams, those female teams are by the LFA.
Of course, they are. They are. 100% they are being supported by the LFA.
We had the U17 team. They came from U15. They graduated the U17, right? The total cost of preparing that team over the past years, it was supposed to 280,000. And that team brought proud to us. Today, our league is being dominated by those very kids.
You have the Vantia
by those kids. Imagine 280,000 in a period of 3 years.
Yes.
Can bring them
see the results.
Proud to you. See the results.
So
if our country can say, okay, we're going to invest 1.5 million every year exclusively in youth football development. What do you see in the next 10 years?
When they say it's not a what do I say? Priority of the government.
How you call competing priority?
The government will always say that to you. We have priority. We have electricity. We have health. We have.
Are you aware that that means football offers us the opportunity to provide lots of 80 million years?
Of course.
80 million years for that.
Of course.
2 days ago, Samson 12 was just around here.
Of course.
And Ali was in
playing the same.
Yeah. Today, those are young boys that making decisions by themselves.
Of course. They're making to their families.
Thousands
to their family. Of course.
How do you think those thousands come to take me? Money Grant, RIA, BNB, and the rest is through football. It's through football. So if we can invest 1.5,
do we have a football plan? Do we have a football plan?
The plan is there. The money is there.
The money is not there. The plan is there.
The plan is there.
What's the plan? So you need to present the plan to the government. That's my question.
Do you think the US does not have the evidence plan? They do. They do.
The last time I went, there was a plan of 5 million.
They do.
Over of time there. If the country can be making on 300,000 expenditure, what are you talking about? Wow.
Today, the president stated the country is indebted. The country is indebted for Djibouti's game up to now hotel that we were in Morocco. We have not paid.
Are you going back to the same country?
Yeah.
They're like the whole team up.
And at the end of the day, we all say we must
win. We must win. That's all we care about. We must win. So we must make the country to know that
this is the situation. If we cannot go to the capital building, we say this is the situation. This is what we are going through. This is what we are going through. We need help.
We need this protest for stakeholders to go to the Capitol building.
No, if we can get people willing to do that, I don't mind doing that. If we can get people willing, you cannot just say that as an individual in the act of support. You will need the rest of the people.
Yeah.
You will need the rest of the people.
You need personnel support.
Of course, you need personnel support.
So the thing is, you as a president, you can call 10 players from each team and say it's not only about football players. I just saying something of football. So if you have 10 players from each team, you have
football. You need people who spend that money. You get 30%, 30 to 35% that you are paying. You don't see that as a reason to demand.
And those 30 people or 35 people, or they get mouths, they are feeding. They have their spouses, they have their kids.
Don't you think that's sufficient reason to ask government for more? You are providing employment for government. Government needs to support that.
Sure, I agree with you.
Government needs to support that. So why don't you make your case? We need to make our case. Otherwise, the FA will only do.
The boy is in your code. As president for SIPA, you have the guys. You can talk to them. The boy is in your code. We can only broadcast this for you, but the boy is in your code.
We will keep talking to our colleagues. We will keep asking them. We will keep making them to see reason until we find sufficient reason and come together as one and make our case.
Do you think football politics is killing SIPA and football as a whole?
Football politics is killing football.
Football politics is killing football, not just SIPA.
Football politics is killing football because
on way 2026.
So imagine how 2025 is going to be looking. How 2026 January, February, March going to be looking. You can imagine. So if all of us were bringing our ideas together, right? All of us are bringing our different ideas regardless of our own ambition. We all have our ambition. Tomorrow, you ask me, I want to be in leadership.
You want to be a president?
That is a president. I want to be there.
But is it about you to be president?
I mean football.
That is an ambition. That's what they can say.
Everything comes with time. Everything comes with time. We've got into administration gradually. We're taking advantage of the opportunity provided to us. We're going to maximize our potential. And at the right time, we're going to push for our vision. So
when we see you on the ballot box paper in 2026.
As SIPA Vice, I don't want to announce anything. It's not calling my resignation tomorrow.
So guys, Ben, I think it has been so rewarding. We are out of time. Let's just have your parting comment as we take leave of you, Savannah's Kevin Morris.
To conclude, if stakeholders are watching and listening, like I said today, putting football hostage is not the best decision to make the LFA increase whatever we are asking for. If we decide not to pass that budget tomorrow and it doesn't go through, football stands still, nothing happens. What happened to our passion? What happens to what we have invested? So if people decide that this is happening to Liberia, and because of this, we are putting sanction on Liberia about this. It affects every one of us. Because you're just looking at this. When you have Congress, you have to submit the minutes of those Congress to FIFA. You have to submit that. So if we submit our minutes to FIFA and see that, and FIFA sees that stakeholders are having problems with administration, it could incite investigation. Somebody will say that was wrong. But what happens to our football in the process? So, God forbid, FIFA decide to sanction us. Now, what happens to us? So the 6,000 now that we're getting now one increase to 10,000, it reduces zero. So I think there are better ways. We can handle it. The FA has soon sent out those budgets to us months ago. We've looked at that. I have looked at it thoroughly. The president provided justification. Now I have not seen payroll. I have not seen how many employees have increased at the FA to agree with the increment in the salaries as per the budget. I have not seen it. So I cannot definitely say that this money should not be there. We have seen a lot of different things happening in football in recent time. The Honor 15, the Honor 17, the different youth tournament. These all require personnel. They require personnel. Before, if they are not existing, you don't have the need for the personnel. But if you are bringing additional personnel,
additional programs, that's additional personnel, and that's additional payment.
And money
So you will not say because the budget, the actual was 271 today, so to for the rest of this year, it should not increase when there have been additional programs added, which brought about additional personnel. So I'm calling on stakeholders. I've already said it. I'm saying it here tonight. I'm going to vote yes to the budget tomorrow. I'm going to vote yes to the budget tomorrow because I think.
So you have made a decision now.
I've made a decision.
You haven't made a decision.
I'm going to vote yes to the budget because I have not seen sufficient reason why I should vote no. Yes, I want additional money, but with what I have learned, what I have seen the last couple of days, the challenges, and my own analysis budget, I don't think they ever can do anything much except for the fact that we have to put ourselves together to pursue that 300,000, which is far more than what we are asking for. Which is far more than what we are asking for. So I'm encouraging stakeholders who are listening, who are watching, let's vote, let's give the LFA the benefit of the doubt, and let's pursue other means of having money to support us.
It was nice having you, Savannah's Kevin Morris. We hope we can always have you on these discussions because that's the only way football can develop. That's the only way sports can develop. At times, you can come and share your own experience as a footballer. You have a move or transition to administrator, football, playing football at the same time going to school and whatsoever. He has a master also. So many footballers did not go through that path. Ben,
well, he said it all. I can't say anything more than that. I'm so happy to form part of the presentation tonight. There's never been a movement, an online movement, when I ever sat with him. Thank you so much, my brother, for coming. So this is how we go home on this edition of the program Sports Talk on Intio Sports. Join us next week, Monday, for another edition of the program Sports Talk. Thanks to our technicians and our producer for making this edition a success. From the entire crew, it's bye-bye from my end. My name is Chris Walker.
The star is for Republic, the blue sea is for black people. We know Liberia is our home. The Declaration of Independence was signed in 1847. 11 nations of people, we are known as First Republic.